Welcome back to Sonic Adventure 2. We're now going into the Headquarters stage as Rouge, which is another finding the keys sort of mission. Luckily this one I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as Knuckles one is. But we're getting a little bit of story about where Rouge is coming from now, because she's on a mission of sorts, you know.
Would you say this level is excellent?
Yeah.
I just burst out giggling like.
I approve of this. I definitely approve of this. But yeah.
Of course you would. You're awful.
Yeah, this level's gimmick is that there's this thing that flies around, and if you're not in the shadow, if you're moving around, then it will zap you. And that doesn't. It kind of gets a little bit annoying, but not too much. It's easily avoidable, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, in this they're sort of doing the later levels, but they're going in reverse order in some way, aren't they?
It's, to an extent, I don't think that's an intentional thing they were going for, but it sort of happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and fish.
I think that's a reference to King Boombo, actually. It looks like a statue of King Boombo.
No, it was a fish.
What?
No,
I didn't see what you were on
She
about.
even said it's an egg fish chamber.
Oh yeah, the chambers have their own like little identities, but not that that really matters much.
Suffering from an identity crisis.
I don't know what I'm looking for here, but maybe the switch for that, but that's underwater, I think. So let's just dig around everywhere, because why not? It's when I look back at stuff like this, I realise how dumb I actually am when I'm playing games. You know, like, you don't tend to realise it when you're just sort of going through a game, but when you watch yourself playing a game back, you realise that you're not always on the ball. So yeah, I just generally end up feeling stupid in these comps. But yeah, there wasn't even anything worthwhile down there. Well, other than that animal thing. They're for the Chow Garden, aren't they? And
Yeah. So boost their abilities when you give them to a Chow, for like example, they'll have like cheetah, won't they? And I think it's to do like how fast it can run.
yeah, the thing with that though is that back when I used to do Chow breeding properly and that, I'd never actually use the animals, I'd just use the cow drives.
Alright.
And yeah, that was a jump cut because I was taking ages, I think.
I think that's more better, because I'm not sure, because I think if you give it an animal, I think it can reduce certain properties, whereas Cow's Drive, it's slower to boost up like the properties and abilities of the Chow, but it's more efficient.
Yeah, that's pretty. Because like the animals, it adapts it to that animal, which so like if that animal has limitations, like it can't run very fast, it knocks the speed
reduces
down.
the ability.
Yeah. Whereas with the Chaos Drives, they're very specific, and I remember like this is going years back when I first got the GameCube version of this game. I think like I do runs of like levels just looking for particular colour Chaos Drives, just so I could collect them up and specialise a Chow. Which it's doable, but it's a big time killer. You know, just going through a level over and over again just to get particular drives.
Yeah. Plus, it probably wouldn't even be like the one you'd want with it. Like it's just random.
They're randomly. So what you do is you kill an enemy, you look at what one it drops, and do you want it? No. All right, move on.
I just picked them up and just like gave them to them.
The Chow is actually really in depth. Not so much in the Dreamcast one, but from the GameCube one, they really put a lot into the Chow Garden system.
Yeah,
like, you can get. They grow up and evolve into specific things depending on what their strengths are, and
yeah,
the one I love is that there's one, if it's a hero one that's mostly speed, then it starts looking like Sonic.
Alright.
And like some of them do look exactly like Sonic if you get the right sort of strengths and priorities down.
Not only that, they added new things like Chow Race. They had that anyway, but I think it's
the karate.
Yeah, the Chow Karate. There's a few others, wasn't there?
The main ones in this game are the racing and the karate, but there's also, on the GameCube version, if you link it up to Advance, you can train them in the Tiny Chow Garden on Sonic Advance.
Alright.
Which I think is also in Advance 2 and Pinball Party as well.
Alright. Because there was a lot of like GameCube and GBA connectivity back then, weren't they? Just trying to see what you could do like between the two.
Yeah, there was like pushing a lot on the because that was the age of link cables, wasn't it? which people always say that's something like really inconvenient. That was, I'll take a link cable over like the 3DS thing that drops every 5 minutes any day, really.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's but did they do that to boost sales? Because I know GameCube was a little bit hit and miss with people.
I think it's more a case of trying to widen the technological side of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, space transporter. I can't talk today. but I know I said this in the last part, but how does this work? Like, ignoring the obvious teleportation thing, which is still technologically impossible, we've got the fact that it links up to this dead, unused arc.
Yeah.
Anyway, now
It's
we
for plot, and that is it.
yeah, plot convenience and nothing more, nothing less.
You're
Just that.
questioning teleportation when you haven't even questioned the fact that they made a mini Death Star.
Well, that's kind of
Yeah,
explained in that Joel built it. Like, obviously, that's a bit out of the reach of a human, but at least they're trying to identify what happened there. You know.
I think the technology in this game is something that is like the least thing that needs to be questioned. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. It's just things I notice.
I like the fact that the mech is sort of attached to Eggman as he's holding on to something.
Yeah, it's like his feet like strapped in or something.
He's got seatbelts on.
Yeah. He may be trying to take over the world with this thing, but at least he's got consideration for health and safety.
Even if it is pulling on his waist, practically tearing him in half.
Well,
The weight of the mech.
yeah. This level with the gimmick is that it starts out dark in each room you walk into, but brightens up the more enemies you kill in there.
Okay.
Which is kind of a cool concept, I
Yeah.
guess. And it's this room where we get the power up going.
To be honest with you, I'd just rather see where I'm going, you know what I mean, instead of
Yeah.
just wondering aimlessly.
It's that thing. I got hit as I was getting the power up, of course. But like with darkness in games, it's something that can be really off-putting. And I
Yeah.
get it with a lot of films as well. You know, when they're trying to make the thing dark for atmospheric effect, and it's like, I want to see what's going on.
Exactly. It's like,
With this, it's
yeah, you're trying to frighten me, but I'm not actually seeing the thing that you're trying to frighten me with.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was my old TV, but I remember I gave up just trying to play through the campaign of Halo 3 ODST at one point, just because of how dark some
Yeah.
certain missions are in the main campaign.
So that's a shock trooper sort of campaign thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little bit more kind of stealthy, but it's not that. I don't mind that. It's own gameplay. It's quite fun in the firefight, but
Yeah.
I just in the main story, like one of the opening ones, I can't remember whether it's the first mission or whether
Yeah,
it's a later one, but it's like you're in this city at night and then
Yeah.
you go inside a building and it's like, I can't actually see a thing here.
The thing is, though, I know that was sort of like a side thing, like a side project, but I don't really associate Halo with stealth, to be honest.
Nah, not
It's
at all.
like you
Well,
just
ODST
jump around, floating about, and just shooting and exploding things.
ODST was
Make things
like
explode.
a stealth game though.
It's not conventional stealth, but it's got more stealthy elements in the fact
Yeah.
that your shields don't regenerate like the
Yeah.
Spartan ones do and that sort of thing. So it's not designed around stealth, but you have to be a bit stealthy, I think.
You've got to be a bit more careful because
Yeah.
you're like more of
Yeah.
a grunt, aren't you? Than
Yeah,
a,
you can't just jump around, just
Super
floating
soldier.
about, just exploding things. Like someone's gonna notice that. Like,
I should say, outside of the multiplayer, I haven't actually played that game since it came out, so I might be talking absolute crap here, but this is just what I remember.
Really, the darkness in this level makes sense considering you're in the Ark and it hasn't really been powered up for a while.
Well, it hasn't been touched in 50
Yeah.
years, has it, since the raid, but I think
So
it's one of
sort
these
of works,
sections
yeah.
here. If you look at the right camera angle, you can see Big sort of squatting on the side with a fishing rod. I'm not sure which one it is because there's a few sections like that, but it's something like that, and he's just there.
How did he get into space?
Maybe he's got like
Ark.
maybe he's got one of them teleport things in his forest as well.
maybe Big
Wade
is
does crazy
omnipotent,
things.
and he's just everywhere. Big is just everywhere in the universe.
He's omnipresent.
Everything is exactly
Wade does crazy things.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, I had a proper crazy night. Me and Froggy really hit it. I woke up the next morning. I was in fucking space.
On a mini Death Star.
I'd say he's spaced out.
Yeah.
What happened to Froggy? I thought he was up for world domination, trying to kill Big.
Yes, well, no one will suspect Froggy.
Froggy is the ultimate mastermind.
Yeah. I haven't done that voice in ages, it feels weird
He
to do
became
it.
one with chaos for a moment, up until he got fished out.
Did he now? I'll be getting back to my fanfiction now.
Where weapons of mass destruction were being created.
What do you think of this design for the Eclipse cannon, by the way?
Of destroying an entire
Looks okay.
code name.
Yeah, that's good.
It reminds me of the sundial from Pokemon X and Y.
What, the thing...
Yeah, in that
They-
city.
Oh, the thing that blows up?
But
Is that the one? Or the underground thing?
I think
or-
he's on about like the thing
the
that
one
shows where the
that's-
Mega Stones are.
Yeah, that thing, but I can't remember the town.
No, I can't think of it.
Anastar City
Yeah,
or
I
something.
think it's like that.
I can't think of it off the top of the head. The only thing I can think of was, the thing that
It's
kind of
sort
in
of-
the middle in Geostage, but I don't think that's it.
Not
To visualise it for you, like so you can get a visualisation of it. It's like off the shore, it's sort of like in the distance, and there's like a whole patch. It's like the sea. It's out in the sea.
that.
Can't
Big
think of it.
purple circle
I
thing.
think, yeah.
I can't think of what it is. But
then you have the ultimate power.
But the Eclipse Cannon, I kind of think they're going for an over-the-top sci-fi thing. I get that, so it kind of works well. The whole holograms flickering around it and that, because this is the control base on it, which conveniently needs the 7 Chaos Emeralds to function, doesn't it? As with everything.
Needs the Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah, except for in the Sonic Boom universe where they don't exist.
Sonic Adventure 1, the Chaos Emeralds powered up Chaos.
Do you
Sonic
think?
Adventure 2 powered up the Eclipse Cannon. Shadow the Hedgehog, he just needed them to be able to beat Doom.
Emerald, you said something about a reaction.
Unleashed, it was to
You're gonna
get
be
their
all day.
temples.
Yeah. You're missing the obvious one of how 7 Chaos Emeralds brings Sonic back to life.
Oh yes, so that one. We cannot speak of that.
We already have many times.
Specializes in all kinds of jewels.
Fascinated Eggman is fascinated.
Yeah.
Really, you'd think that by now they would just think, like, oh no, it's a big world disaster. Get the emeralds? Yeah.
You think they would just keep them somewhere safe at this point,
Heck, at the
really?
beginning of Unleashed, Sonic had them right there. He's like, alright, let's just sort the shit out right away.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered with all the shit later on.